Hey, welcome to Route 66. We're in day 102 and we're finishing up on another book in the Bible. You're going to finish two chapters, 2 Samuel chapter 3 and 24. And so you're going to finish up just another book in the Bible. And we'll begin 1 Kings tomorrow. But anyway, just got two chapters. These are good summaries. David, in chapter 23, David kind of gives his poetic final look over his reign. He acknowledged that God was the true source of his strength and his victories. And then the chapter lists some of his, what are called David's mighty men. And so some loyal warriors that he had. And so those are some great guys. Some guys we've never heard of, and some guys we kind of have heard through the story of David, but he acknowledges other people. And then chapter 24, David blows it again. He orders a census of all of Israel. And he's challenged not to, but he goes ahead and does it anyway. Now, this becomes a problem because God is displeased. God sends a plague. David takes full responsibility and ends up making a sacrifice to stop the plague at this one area. And later on, that area became the Temple Mount. And tradition actually says that that's the same place where Abraham attempted to offer Isaac and God stopped him. So regardless of what happened, why did God, what's wrong with the census? Well, it came out of pride, insecurity. God had promised David victory, and David wasn't for sure, and David wanted to see how many men he had. You see, that it wasn't necessarily the census, because God had a census. Remember the book of Numbers? There were two times that God said God had them number the people. So the act wasn't the sin as much as it was the motive, and that the motive was a big thing. So anyway, a couple of lessons that we can learn from this. From chapter 23, how important leadership is. Good, godly leadership always acknowledges God. Now, God uses people, and God uses the strengths and abilities of people. Had it not been for that person's ability, they probably wouldn't have done it. But a good person is humble when God allows them to have a victory, when God allows them to become a great leader, and they point to God, but they also point to other people. A strong leader is never alone. He is able, or she is able, to be able to get other people around them, and then they don't take all the credit. They kind of pass it off to all the other people, David's mighty men. So that's a good lesson in leadership, those of you that are leaders. And in chapter 24, it reminds us of the pride in numbers. God oftentimes does some mighty things with a few people. You remember Gideon. He just had, 300 men, and he beat the Midianites. David should have known this. A small little shepherd boy with just 5 rocks was able to kill Goliath. And so pride and strength can lead us away from trusting in God. God is less interested in how much you have than that whatever you have, you give it to him. And so it's important. And it also, in this story of David, true repentance takes ownership, doesn't excuse it like David didn't. David said, that was my fault, and I'm going to take ownership of it. So that's a good thing. So good reading today. Last 2 chapters. We'll begin 1 Kings starting tomorrow. So God bless you. Have a good reading.